Hey RATBAGGERS, it's Jade. Today I'm going to show you how to get the best out of your cauldron, unlocking new potions. Essentially, you need to find the witch. Now if you're really new to the game and you haven't found out yet, you're going to need glass to make a lot of the potions, as obviously that's made with the sand that you get from the desert. And to survive in the cold, where we're going to be finding the witch eventually, we're going to need the fire flowers to make some hot drinks, which will give us some protection in the cold. You craft the hot drinks back at your crafting bench at home, and the hot drink will give you 5 minutes of protection in the cold biome. The tundra is extremely dangerous with lots of different creatures, and it's kind of the next biome you should explore after the desert. And somewhat related, as you will have the chance to buy some potions from her, the new medic has just been added in the latest update, and it means that you can get HP and MP potions, or you can even use the NPC, the medic, to heal yourself once you move her in. To do that though, you're going to need a fir shelf, which you'll get from obviously chopping down some of the fir trees. Previously the travelling merchant, I do believe, had the potions to buy, but it looks like that may have changed to the medic, or it's just another NPC that now sells them. And you can actually unlock the cauldron way before you find the witch, which means you will be able to craft your own potions, or at least some of them, but you'll be really limited by some of the recipes that you need to basically buy from the witch. And if you missed it somehow, the cauldron's made with copper, some of the mucus and bones, which means going to the desert and getting it all and cooking up obviously the copper. Also make sure you craft a glass bottle as well, just in case it hasn't opened up the recipe for the cauldron. You'll have teleport potion, which needs some of the shells to make. And if you've killed any other creatures, some of their resources might open up the recipes for you, like scorpion tails here giving me poison resistance, or fire resistance potions by getting some of the fire flowers. And yeah, if you've gone and got yourself the coral and the starfish, then the coral should give you the small HP potions and the starfish should give you the small MP potions. So that should help get you started, but let's get the witch. So we're back in the tundra, we've got a hot drink giving us protection, and we're looking for the cave. It can kind of be tough to spot. I normally find it always enveloped by snow and ice rather than the fir woods. And a bunch of people in Discord have said that they weren't able to find it even though they explored everything. And when I've checked their maps, they've just missed it. It's this tiny little dark navy purplish circle. So if you feel like you've run around the tundra and couldn't find it, double check again, really zoom in and see if you can find it this way. Can't remember if I needed a copper pickaxe or was it actually the next upgrade, the iron. I did have an iron one here. When you break through, that's it, you've got access to the caves. Now the caves are really tough. When you think about progression, it goes pretty much the forest, then the desert, then the tundra, and then maybe the caves. And these caves are huge. It's literally almost the size of the overworld, again with lots of different biomes, including the mushroom biome, and that's what we really need to explore. There are other NPCs you'll come across in the caves. In fact, it's pretty important because it's the way that you'll be able to go and explore other islands, eventually rescuing the carpenter from the boss that lives in the cave. I'm going to have a separate video up for that, so make sure you tune in. And as soon as you set foot in the caves, you will come across the miner that sells you lots of dynamite and bombs and stuff. And again, you can get him to move in with you. But you will need to go to the wasteland and get some of the wood, which requires at least an iron axe, I do believe, as you'll need a wasteland stool. Now if you're really new to the game, I'm making this sound super easy, but the cold really does hurt. So if you accidentally teleport, if you find a waypoint close to the cave, then you're still going to need protection to get to it. Although once you're in the cave, you don't have to worry about being too cold. And there is a top tip at the moment. You might consider it a bit of cheese, but if you go into your options, go to graphics and switch on low specs mode, it reveals pretty much all of the cave structures, so you can work out much easier ways to explore. You can do this in other parts of the game as well and it will help out. Although sometimes, like the desert, it actually stops the glow from the fire plants, so that might not be as helpful. So we're looking for the mushroom biome, and luckily one had spawned pretty much close to the caves, so I didn't have to go far. You can tell it's very different. There are a couple different biomes in here, but these do have some of the toughest enemies. These mushroom mobs are really challenging. Some of them fire, some of them jump like this, and they've got poisonous spores as well. You should at the least have something close to maybe iron armor before exploring here, or the equivalent, and definitely a bit more than 260 health. So I ended up going and finding more of the health flowers and basically getting better gear before coming back. And then you just need to keep exploring all of the mushroom biome in the caves, and eventually you'll come across the witch. She'll have a bunch of potions that you can buy. These are the recipes so that you can go and craft your own. and in emergency glass bottles as well as HP and MP potions, although that may have changed again and that might only be with the medic now. You've basically got potions to fit whatever playstyle you're using, ranged, melee, magic. Some of the potions are going to need some of the mana flowers or the heart flowers, and especially take notice of one called the swarm potion. This increases up to 300% the amount of enemies that spawn. You need a fair amount of materials to make it, the mushrooms that you can find in this biome as well as the swamp. I do believe it's either the blood sacs or the leech sacs that you get from either the mosquitoes or the leeches in the swamp too. But this is really good if you're trying to find some stuff, like there's a special type of crab that is really hard to find sometimes, and if you kill it enough you can actually face off against another boss. So by having this potion, in theory it should make that a little bit easier. And there's lots of other good potions as well, including speed, although it doesn't last that long. Peaceful potion, which does the opposite of swarm, actually reduces the amount of enemies that spawn. And again, you'll need some of the mushrooms from this biome, and again the same resources from either the swamp. So do make sure you harvest or grab a ton of these mushrooms. The small ones that are growing should be able to be picked up with just a regular pickaxe or axe, but some of the larger trees, they'll definitely need an iron axe to chop through. And as you might expect, if you want the witch to come and live with you, you're going to need the cauldron in her room. And that's pretty much it. The witch didn't have any kind of quest for me when I clicked on it, at least. I'm not too sure if she'll eventually sell more potions. But yeah, absolutely try and get as many different types of mushrooms as you can in the caves. In this mushroom biome, it's much easier than going to the swamp. Apart from the mobs, I mean, you just have a lot more. The swamp will be needing a visit though, as you're going to need some of the reeds that you get if you want some of the range potions that increase how much damage you do. There's also the melee potion, increases how much melee damage, attack speed potion, which is really good. And all of these recipes are going to cost 1 gold, so it's not cheap to unlock all of them. And as soon as you can, if you do chop down some of the mushroom trees, try and grow them. They can be grown in any kind of soil. This way it will start getting some of the mushroom stuff that you really need. And as said, some items won't unlock in the actual cauldron until you go ahead and get some of the pieces from enemies. So again, the scorpion tails, as well as making sure you kill some of the golems you find in the wasteland. Because you'll get his heart, and that allows you to go ahead and make some of the stone skin potions, which give you extra protection. Potions really should be the focus. I would say focus on actually growing mushrooms over some of the other crops, because you can only eat one meal instead of the potions where you can drink loads of them and get all the effects and bonuses. You might notice if you found the chef that yeah, you only get the one buff when you eat something currently, unless anything changes in early access. Once you buy the recipes, don't forget to go ahead and use them in your hotbar. When you buy a recipe, it doesn't automatically mean you learn it, it just means that you've got the recipe in your hand. And I'll do a full guide on every cauldron potion, obviously once I've got a bit further. But hopefully this will set you on the path to making the game a bit easier with so many of these potions. Lots of them last for like 120 seconds, some only last for 20 seconds. It all depends on your playstyle, but at least you can use a bunch of them in one go. Need more help in Tinkerlands? Check out the rest of my guides, and I've got more incoming. Until next time, Ratbags, laters.